So Ganutell was done in the Victorian era using wool. I've got a sample. Hang on, let me see. If I was at home, I have 2 pieces of this in my collection at home. Actual like Victorian one, and I've never got the sample out today. What is it?
Would you spell that word?
Ganutell. Ganutell. There is only one book on Ganutell, and it's not available on eBay or Amazon or any of those. It's only direct from the lady who's written it, okay? And her name is escaping my brain at the moment, so when I think of it, I'll tell it to you. It's called Country Garden Flowers, and she's in the UK.
It's not
So-
Lorraine
No.
Lorraine Bateman?
No. But when I think of it, I'll tell you. So, when I was designing these, I wanted to scale it down. So this embroidery was done during the Stuart era as well. And it was usually done by nuns, and it was known as nuns' work, and it was known as monastero because it was in monasteries. Okay. And there's a really fabulous book called Heavenly Bodies. You'd love it, Shirley.
Okay.
Okay, Heavenly Bodies is full of skeletons dressed in Ganutell embroidery.
Ooh, that is
Okay.
cool.
So across Europe, when the Catholic faith was waning, they dug up a whole lot of saints from the catacombs in Rome and started shipping them around Europe.
Oh, jeez.
And the nuns would decorate the skeletons, and they're all in glass boxes, and they are still all in glass boxes all around Europe. We saw a couple of, so like usually you'd see they're like little talismans, okay, and it would be a finger of a, this is a bone of the finger of Saint such and such. It's like Jesus' crown of thorns. If you took every thorn in every church in Europe
It has one.
that has one of Jesus' crown of thorns, it would weigh a ton. The man would never have been able to lift his head. Okay, so, but you get these finger bones of the saints, and they decorated them with this embroidery. Okay, they made these little flowers and they put it around a bone. Half the time it's a chicken bone.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, but then it's a fundraiser for the convent, and they're raising money, and it's a talisman to wish you good luck on your travels, because we are talking the 1500s and the 1600s when they were doing this. You're going to get robbed on the road by highwaymen. You're going to die of plague. You need every bit of good luck you can get. Okay, so we were in a particular church in Spain, and there was about 15 skulls. Some of them were decorated, some of them weren't. There were other ones with little finger bones and this and that, and it's like, I'm like, there are that many saints, all these different pieces. So this book, Heavenly Bodies, their ribs are wrapped. They've got like silk stocking pulled over their face, and then that's all embroidered in flowers. It's really an amazing book if you can get over the dead bodies. The really funny ones, though, are the ones that lay on the side, like, you doing it. So they're really funny. But in that period, it was done in silk. Now, from doing finger bones, they kind of moved on to doing little paper things. And in France, they'd have little paper effigies of, and usually Lourdes. Lourdes has lots of them, okay? Little ones of the Virgin. She's hand painted on paper. There might be, if it's a different saint, it'll have little pieces of paper saying what saint it is, and then they have this embroidery around it. If you want one for your collection, if you collect antique needlework, eBay's German version, there's actually dozens of them for sale at any given time. Some of them are as cheap as $200 and some of them are $2,000, so it just depends on how much work is in them. I have a couple of them, not ones with finger bones. I have ones with paintings in the middle. But yeah, they're fabulous. Okay.
So would that be where the sugar skulls come from?
No, I think that's just another evolution. So the same person who wrote Heavenly Bodies has got another book, and it's called the something of the dead. I can't think. No, it's not Day of the Dead. It's I have to think of what it is, but he actually covers all of the different funerary rites around the world, including Day of the Dead. So it's not just that. But yeah, there are some really bizarre burial rituals, including one in Sicily where they just hang you on the wall in your clothes. Just
Plop you right up there.
Yep, pop you right up there. And the best part about that, and I keep saying to Steve, I have to go to this church, because you can actually follow the history of fashion through the people that are hanging on the walls.
Oh, that's kind of creepy.
It's really creepy. You've got to have a strong stomach.
Yeah.
So,
How do you prevent the flesh
Sorry?
rotting and the
Heavenly
bones
Bodies,
falling
Andrew
down?
Bolton?
Do you know what I mean?
Maybe they,
I can't remember if
as
that's
you
his name, but
reach
it's
Fashion
definitely
and
each
Catholic
stage,
imagination.
like
Yeah,
a
that's it.
yearly
Yeah.
Fashion, Catholic imagination.
retightening
and
of
his
the.
other book,
Who
it'll
knows?
probably tell you what his other book is. It's something in the something of the dead, like funerary rites of the dead, something like that. So anyway, it was done in that period.
Let's not all bid against each other, okay?
Right.
It was done in silks, okay? So then in the Victorian era, and this, like I said yesterday, there's this lady and she's busy saying how she's researching, she's translating, all the rest of this. You know, all of this nun's work, this monastery, she's trying to examine how it's done. She's looking at pieces in the museum. There's a
great.
stunning example at the Burrell. It's a little bouquet of flowers about this big, and each flower is that big. It is to die for, really beautiful. And they've got a little bead in the middle of every single little petal. It's stunning, okay? But what this woman doesn't realise is the nuns from Austria took it to Malta as missionaries, and they still do it in Malta. And the Maltese people have moved to every country on earth, the same way that every other country has people that have moved to every country on earth. And the Maltese women, they say in Melbourne, go, oh, I do this. My grandma taught me how to do this. I still do this. They get together in their own little sewing groups in their little Maltese communities, and they'll get together and they do this particular type of embroidery still. So it had a resurgence in the Victorian era, and it was done in wool, much bigger, much chunkier. So I did some wool ones. I wasn't really thrilled with how the wool ones came up because they are just a tad chunky. So then I was like, okay, no, I'm going to do it in silk. We're going to say it's Victorian. Victorian ones, they did do some in silk. They weren't exclusively wool. But the wool petals, I'll let you have that. The wool petals are anything up to this big. You know, they're much bigger petals.
More lifelike.
Well,
more life size.
yeah,
Like for
but
daffodils
but
and things.
chunky. They're just chunky.
They're just chunky.
And then you can get them in embroideries where they're all put onto a background, but quite often you'll find them under domes where they're put together like a bouquet, and they're under a dome. So that's where you tend to see them anywhere where they've got Victorian stuff like that. So, okay, museums and such.
So what
I've
kind
cut
of
off
gold?
50 centimetres. This is our brass bead wire. So this is the packet that has no name, okay? Because it sounds like my husband got slack. And I'm using the big needle that we were using yesterday when we were doing our plaited braid stitch, okay? What we want to do is hold on to that and hold on to a tail of the wire, and we're going to wrap. And we want to wrap side by side by side by side by side, and that little mongrel wants to spin around in your finger and hurt your fingers. So have him hang downwards so he's out the way. You can hold on to him and you're going to wrap side by side by side. We don't want any gaps.
Is it already?
Okay?
Not just stretch a little bit of pearl.
Let me see.
That's what I was kind of wondering too.
Even better than that, why not buy pearled wire, because it is available.
Yeah.
But you know, in the Victorian era, they made it themselves.
Oh,
And so
okay.
I thought, why take that joy away from you?
Oh, I love you, Alison.
We're going to wrap 2.5 centimetres. So,
A little over an inch.
yeah. Got 1 centimetre.
Okay, this needle just looks like stretched pearl.
It does. Except that remember, your pearl has a horseshoe profile, and this doesn't. This has got a round profile.
And then what you're gonna do is push it, just,
I'll
what
show
I
you.
noticed is you.
So I'm just shuggling
Gonna
it
do the
along
whole
to make
needle, right?
sure that I'm getting 2.5 centimetres. So I'm not wrapping over the eye, and I don't want to wrap over the point because the point narrows and the eye thickens.
Yeah.
I just want to wrap that shaft in the middle of the needle. So I'm going to say that's about 2 centimetres. Well, I'll just do a little bit more. She says. I do have a tape measure in front of me, but anyway. Okay, there's my inch, okay?
Kneel down so that you can,
And I'm
so that you too.
I
going,
can see her wrapping.
You don't want to
slide that off. So now I have this,
A little coil.
a little coil.
Okay.
So what we're going to do with our little coil,
So do you ever use different size needles to wrap?
you can,
That's
definitely.
why these little petals are tighter.
Yep. And I also was playing with all different wires, including gold-plated bead wires, and I was having fun just working up a whole lot of samples because I could. Okay, so I now have an inch of wrapped wire. Now, just like we did yesterday, we need to stretch it. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to take the rest of that bit of wire and I'm going to thread it through the middle.
Just because you're
Okay, so I have a piece of wire running through the middle.
Okay.
Now I'm going to pull on the ends and I'm going to stretch that out so that it is about 4 centimetres. 5 centimetres, sorry. 5, okay?
So you're doubling it.
Yep. Bum, ba-dum, dum. A little bit more. A little bit. Let's just try and stretch it evenly. If it's got an area that's not stretching evenly, ease it around like I am at the moment. That's it. That's close enough. Okay. We now
I
have.
thought somebody dropped something.
We now have. Bring those wires together, and I'm only going to twitch it at the base once or twice.
So that's the
Oh,
outline
cool.
of the leaf.
Well,
That's the outline of the leaf.
Well,
or
it will
petal,
be.
rather.
It's, well, but they both start off the same. They both start off the same. Now, on your back page, you have a pattern. Throw my scissors away. Victorian. This is the leaf we're doing. So you want to pinch that at the top to put a point on it, and then open that up so you've got your leaf shape.
Very pretty.
That's not hard, is it?
No.
We can do this. You want to take a long length of silk and just a single thread. And I've got on the notes a metre. I think I've got to take a long length on the board. I've written a metre. You just want to have a little tail at the bottom. And for this, remember in the 70s when we wrapped thread around nails?
Yes.
We're going to wrap into the coils. I'm going to try and get it even. Now, if you end up with your wraps being not quite even, like this is a little bit more open on this side than this, I'm going to wrap into that side twice so that I keep this fairly straight. Okay, so what we're doing is wrapping from side to side. Side to side to side to side to side. I'm going to go to that one twice. Side to side to side to side. Okay, so I'm going to stop there so that you guys can have a look. So it's sitting in the coils and it's not travelling any further because it's got the wire running through the middle. Yeah?
Gotcha.
Do you do that all the way up to the top of the leaf?
All the way to the top of the leaf. And then you're going to bring it straight down on the top to the bottom again, and that's going to make your vein.
Okay.
And you're supposed to make it
Now,
Totally filled in.
totally filled in. What you don't want to do is pull so tight that you get a long skinny leaf. You don't want this to come in like that. You want to keep that, having that bit of shape to it. Okay, so that is actually probably the most challenging part. Is as a tight stitcher, I always want to wrap really tight. So I'm gonna zip up here quickly so that I can show you the top. And then you guys are going to go make a leaf, and then we're going to regroup so that I can show you how to make a petal. Because the petal is different. The base of it's the same, but the rest of it is different. Now I'm getting a bit
The
tight
wrapping.
here. Yeah, the wrapping part's different. Okay, I'm at the top. I'm going to.
I'm going to have an Alison Cole leaf on my
I'm going to go into that top coil and bring it down to the front. so it's going to give me a vein. At the base, we're going to wrap that so that that first tail I started with isn't going to come undone, and it's wrapping over your wires. Now, the finishing of this leaf is that you're going to wrap these wires for about
You get a little stem.
2 centimetres, yep, to make a stem.
It also makes it strong too, because you gotta wrap wires.
Yep. And then, probably could be a little longer than that, but I'm going to still do that half hitch knot that we do. Then I'm going to bend that back underneath.
Use
don't
your
want
teeth?
a loop. Well, you don't want a loop, but I didn't bring pliers up here with me. So I'm going to wrap back up to the fold and back down to the base. Finish with that half hitch knot again
At the
at the
bottom.
bottom. Yep. Okay, that thread can be left hanging for applying it, and all of that gets cut off.
Are those your metal scissors?
Yep.
Okay.
So you have 4 pieces of wire and the tail, yeah, to go down.
Oh, how pretty.
That's it? You don't,
That's it.
You don't stitch anymore?
It's finished.
Wow.
Wow.
I
That's
told you it's something you're going to all be able